Alrighty, hello. I realized I had this video still, saved on my iPad. And I thought, hey, why not upload the process for this? Because thank you, Procreate, and your time-lapse capabilities. Thing is, though, it's about 28 minutes long. Which, I mean, considering how much time I put into it total is about, 50-something hours or 20-something hours? I'd have to double-check. Yeah, this took a while. So right now I'm in the thumbnailing stage. So what this is, so I am someone who does the RP groups. I love making characters and stories and stuff like that, and then interacting with other people. So this was me doing listen, I love some good pain, and I love doing song art. So this is me trying to do some song art and doing out the thumbnailing and sort of key shots part. So figuring out okay, what images are going with what pieces of lyric, and how is it going to move? Of course, let's be fair, so that thing I just uploaded there, that is the hand movements, because I did a lot of referencing. Holy cow, I would be because I was doing this all during my summer job. So I would be sitting at the counter of the gift shop, recording myself on my phone, doing these motions, so I could then draw reference out so I can actually animate the motion of scratching down your arms. And so I'd just be awkwardly doing that in my coat, huddled up in a mask, looking around is anyone looking at me? Anyone looking at me? No? Okay, I'm gonna do this. Cause hot damn, I had maybe 7 customers a day at the gift shop. Oh, I didn't even think I said what my job was. So I worked summer of 2020, I worked at a hospital gift shop, and it was dead. There was no one coming in or out, pretty much. Because I live in the middle of nowhere. So, with a mixture of generally not being a busy hospital and COVID, nothing happened. It was just very quiet. And so I just drew all day, because we never got customers. And so I used that as a chance to try and do some little animation stuff. So now you can see I'm getting to the secondary sketch phase. So much work. So much work for so little content. Because this is the final's maybe 13, 15 seconds? It's not long. It really is not long for how many hours you put into it. And I am not an animator. I really am not. I have no clue what I'm doing at all. And so that is why you will notice things are kind of jank, especially with my final placement of things. So one person did comment it's hard to read. I will not deny that fact. It is in fact hard to read, because the lyrics in video goes by so fast, and so I should have done more to sort of slow things down. But of course, I was not thinking of that. I was just okay, this pretty image goes with these lyrics, and this pretty image goes with this lyrics, and things move! Woo! I'm an animator! As I've clearly stated, I am not. But hey, I'm learning. I make mistakes, and I'm learning. I say, but I've not done anything this intensive since. Well, I might soon, because in the next game we're doing, there's going to be a scene where a character gets picked up. And I'm going to try and animate someone being picked up with my sprites. So that's going to be fun. I'm going to have to try and reference that. That's going to be fun. Downside is there was no one around for me to try and pick up or be picked up by to take that reference. So it's time to peruse the internet. Thank you, internet. You are very useful in these very solitary days. There is me jiggling back and forth, jiggling back and forth as I try and... What am I doing here? Oh, I am placing things. So I tried to save some amount of time by double checking angles and hey, I have the body sketch for this. Let's shrink it down for the next one so I don't have to keep redrawing. And yet I still redrew a lot of things anyways. And then muscles sucked. And there was a time period where I realized, oh, the torso does not line up between things. He's thicker, lower in the earlier close-ups, and then he gets skinnier there. And I'm Oh, I really did this to myself, didn't I? And actually, I am noticing now his body is not even. He's more, like, there's more weight to the left side. Oh, you can also see... So I also did reference shooting with my own face, because I wanted to get the angle of the head moving up and sort of smiling. So that's what you see on the side there, is me sketching from my reference, because I could not immediately. So I'd film it, I'd do sketches with frame by frame from the things I filmed, and then I took those sketches and brought them over here, so then I could do more. And also a fun thing too was having to thicken up, because I am very skinny. My skinny wrists and medium-sized hands. So using myself for reference as well was kind of like, wow, I am not a big buff lion man, liger man, whatever he is. So that's how that went. In general, I think like animation is not appreciated enough. It is appreciated, everyone loves it, but holy cow, the work that goes into it. I can entirely see why some stuff gets like sent overseas, or like you pay someone else to do this stuff, because hot damn, I like it, but it is a bit soul crushing. I really want to get better at it though, because I really love it, but I do not know programs. Like, this is all done in Procreate, because Procreate is simple. And I do have Clip Studio EX, because I had a brief phase of trying to animate something for a friend's birthday, and I never got past the sketch stage. And it is currently hiding unlisted on my YouTube, because it is not good. It is kind of ugly. I did like to twirl, but that will not be seen by the light of man yet. But yeah, I want to figure out video editing software. How do people do those cool videos with music and like the images like boom, boom, boom? And they're usually stills, but they're stills with layers. So you have like a little bit of animation and then things twirl, or like you change shots. And I'm like, what is this thing in these filters? And they have lyrics going all over. Is that just, well, Movie Maker's dead. But it's some kind of video software. I don't know. I'll have to research on that one day. Because for the Little Lion Man, I used Filmora. And that was mainly because, you know, I bought like a year subscription to it and then never used it. So I used it for that. Because I did not want to use the free version, because I had a lot of images and I was getting really annoyed not being able to save things. And speaking of Little Lion, you know, I'll talk about Little Lion Man. Because that thing was also fun. I do a lot of medical stuff, even though I'm not, or at least related to like hospitals. So for the Little Lion Man sort of like storyboards, those were done while I was taking a first aid course in order to apply for a tourism job in France. I did not get the job, by the way, no surprise there. I speak good French, but not apparently that good, or I just sucked at the interview, which is also very possible, because I'm not great at interviews. I am a pretty mild-mannered person, and I don't know how to answer a lot of questions they ask. They're like, what would you do if somebody was being late for work every day? What would you do? And I'm like, I would try and help them. I'm a good person. And it's not a lie. I would try and be like, hey guys, come on. But then I also don't know what exactly are you supposed to do. I don't know, I'm very Canadian sometimes. But yeah, Little Lion Man, first aid course, about 2 days long. And so I had this tiny little, actually I think it was 3 days, I don't remember. It was a blur, because I did not pay attention. Gonna be frank, did not pay attention to a lot of it. I just kind of stared out the window and watched as turkeys walked by, and I was like, huh. Yeah, that's a lot of turkeys. But I had this little thumbnail sketchbook. And so I just started going, I'm gonna draw. And then it became, I'm gonna use up this whole book making storyboards. So each like little page was a frame. So I did like 82 little illustrations in my sketchbook over the 2 or 3 days. And then I just kind of clean them up, slap them together in a video, add a little bit of animation for like one part where he does like lip sync, which is also not very well done, but I tried. And then bam, look, I did a video. It's funny, a lot of things it either takes me a very long time to finish or I get it done in like a couple days. Like the little Bluebeard thing, I did that in like 7 hours before class started because it was due at the start of class and I was like, whoa, I made mistakes. But I find it really helps if I like write down first all the scenes I want and like, okay, frame one's gonna be dude sitting there, people talking. Bam. I just do that for like 80 something frames and then it's really quick to draw. I guess I should probably try doing that for comics sometime. It would probably help me figure things out better instead of getting halfway through a page and being like, I don't know what's happening. And so, Little Iman's also some RP stuff because I'm a nerd. Yes, big surprise, person who works on video games is a nerd. But I love I really love my stories. And I gotta figure out one day how to make them not interesting to people, but like how to actually get out what my brain thinks, you know? Like that is the hardest thing, is getting all this stuff you have written away or in your mind and all these stories, but then having to actually try and translate that to people and try and show like, look at what I love. And that's like what this little thing was like, I love Brutus and Mavis. Oh, I have not told you guys who these people are. Okay, so you got Brutus and Mavis. They are siblings, adopted siblings. So Brutus is obviously the big buff Liger man. He used to be a really, really sweet boy. He is a medic still. So he was a buff medic, very soft, very gay. And he loved everyone. He did not like being in war. He's in a war. He's not a fan of it, but he still does it because it's mandatory and he wants to not just kind of fuck off. He is a active man. So he's very emotionally distraught by all this. And eventually his sympathetic tendencies lead to him being, well, re-educated. So he gets like tortured and messed up and ends up becoming a very cold, robotic, scary person. So that happens. And Mavis, his adopted sister, is absolutely crushed by this all and also slowly starts to become a colder, kind of mean person. She's never been nice. Mavis is a very emotional, kind of prickly person. She's not one who likes to be happy, and she's very angry at people and rude, but she does show she cares in other ways. Like one way she showed she cared is, if you notice the little line man, that little heart charm, there's like that I use for the still frame for like the whatever it's called, the music encore. That is a little charm she gave Brutus, and Brutus used to have it on his little multi-tool, his multi-tool, Swiss Army knife, pretty much that sort of thing. But then when he left, it just kind of got left behind and no longer has it. So pretty much the whole story for this is we have the two sides of them both being pain. So like Brutus here, he is literally rotting from the inside. No one's helping him. He is emotionless. He's not happy. He's cruel. He is mean. And he doesn't really understand. He doesn't know kindness anymore. He used to be a very kind man. Like you can see there, that's the image of him when he was softer. He was a good boy. And now he's a cold-hearted, emotionless, vacant creature now. Like the scene here that first started it is him being so overwhelmed with just hatred towards the rebels that he harms himself. Like he scratches down his arms because he's trying to hold back the rage. I guess I should correct that. It's not emotionless. It's just he only knows a negative emotions now. And in that ring I added to be kind of like a cool source of light. Ring lighting. Yeah, he scratches down his arms, leaving them to bleed as he looks out into the distance, just filled with... bleh. And then the camera sort of pans over to the other side where Mavis is. And Mavis is just distraught because, like, he's gone. My brother is just, he's no longer with us. That's not my brother anymore. That's not the Brutus I grew up with. And so she's just kind of crushed by that and decides, okay, I'm going to crush the world back. And that is not going anywhere so far, but who knows, maybe one day. Because since this is RP group, the storyline itself, like the plot of the thing, certain things are not mine, but I do want to write my own story with them because I like how they've developed, and I love good pain. Pain is pain, but it's like juicy. It leaves me emotionally wrecked, but in a good way, and I want to share that with people. So one day. Because I do have sci-fi drawings of, like, Brutus and Mavis, where Brutus is like, oh, he is a soldier he was part of the rebellion, but he got captured and sort of re-educated into a soldier. And then he gets kidnapped again by the rebels and his sister, and it's a journey of, like, trying to teach him how to be human again, and, like, hey, we love you. We know you've been through a lot. We know you're still in there somewhere, though, and it kind of ends on, like, a note of... there's still a little bit good in there, but he can never become the same person he was. Too much has changed, too much violence, too much pain. Like, I'm pretty sure Mother dies. I'd have to reread. But it's just, like... as much as you want things to be back the way they used to be, it's just... sometimes you can't. Sometimes a scar is a scar. You can't heal it. And one of the scars is Brutus can never be the same person he was. Because he got royally messed. Like, that's another thing. I still need to design the person who was his torturer. I do have drawings of one possibility, like I have a lot of AUs, because I also have a version of Brutus where he is like a familiar. And the witch is the one that messed him up, and when he ran away from their contract, that's when he kind of broke. Woo! I do a lot of stuff. I really do, and I don't finish any of it. But I'm hoping, in between working on the game and my freelance and stuff, I finally learn how to finish things. Because if I'm working on my own and other projects, that should teach me how to do other things. Like, I want to learn how to do comics, which I can kind of do them, but I don't feel like I do them great yet. I don't know how to finish things and write. So I'm hoping I can figure out, like, how to write in a way I can finish a story. Because that's always the hardest part. And oh, this was torture. It took me a couple different tries figuring out how to do water or rain effect. Even though it's stupidly simple, I am an idiot, and I eventually found a good brush for doing rain. Because hell no, I am not drawing individual rain droplets, even though I tried at one point. Oh, so now we're at Mavis' part. So this is her crying, this is her feeling hopeless and sort of reaching out for help, but then you can see the change in her expression and her glove glows with matte, like, sigilmancy, and she's like, I want help, but you're not helping me, so I'm gonna burn you. In her little yellow coat. Did I ever fix... Did I? I think I did, yeah. That layer is just visible because I was doing color picking. Smart thing to do is have somewhere else on your palette. So every time you need to get something done, you don't have to go back and color pick the previous layer. Because you may notice, I do a lot of that. I am stupid and don't think ahead. God, I'm just... Thinks back to doing this. I eventually I think I actually finished work, and so I ended up finishing this all during the rest of my summer. And so I am a slob. I do most of my work in bed, but animating, it's hard to like get myself to do the work, so I ended up sitting on the couch the whole time, making sure I would stay awake and get this goddamn done. Because I was like, I have gotten too far into this to just leave it. And it's not perfect. It's really not. There's a lot of things I would do differently and things I would fix, like the timing, like I mentioned, as well as the water effect. I am not particularly proud of how the water looks. It's not great. But it got the job and the point across, and that's kind of what matters sometimes. And so, oh, Mavis. Yeah, I would also want to try and do wet hair better. Because I feel like at points I kind of gave up. Not kind of, I definitely gave up. And so, what else can I say? Yeah, it turns out talking for like half an hour is harder than I thought, but I'm almost there. So pretty much a lot of line art. I did mention this was all in Procreate. God bless Procreate. That is actually, at least as far as my experience has been, it's been pretty good for animation. I mean, it sucks if you need to like edit anything. So for instance, I hope that wasn't heard, I just dropped my iPad. So anytime I needed to adjust something using like the transform tool, I would lose my line quality, even though I'm at like 300 by 300 DPI or whatever. 300 DPI, not 300 by 300. Oh my gosh. Although I won't deny the fact that this canvas size is not super big, because I did this all on my old iPad, which had like 32 gigs of memory. I had to delete a lot of things off my iPad in order to do this, let me just say. Because this is like 50 frames? No, it's less than that. It's 40 something frames. I also probably shouldn't be recording at like 2 a.m. Oh, it's 3 a.m. Wow. Yeah. What am I up to? I'm doing a lot of classwork. So back in December, I was very sad. My grandmother passed away at the start of the school semester, and I ended up dropping out because it was hard. Yeah, don't want to be too sad. So I dropped out, and so I had like a couple months where I was just doing nothing with my life. I was looking for work, because I already have a degree. Let's be fair here. I did a 4-year Bachelor of Illustration. Thank you very much. And then I wanted to try learning 3D animation. Because as you can see here, I do like animating, even if it's very rudimentary. And so I wanted to try and learn it. But holy cow, Maya and mostly Maya and was it Red Light? No, not Red Light. Red Frame? Something like that? Whatever. These like animation and video editing software programs. It was too much. It might have been better if it was in-person classes, but because of you know what, it was all online. And so I, in between dealing with, grief and generally being a very low energy person, it was very, very hard to pay attention. I frankly just couldn't pay attention during online classes. So I ended up dropping out after like a month, and got my refund, thankfully. Thank you school. So I dropped out and then just was trying to deal. I just spent a lot of time sleeping. I did not draw at all during this time. And so my mother suggested try just some different kind of classes. So I looked up and found an online school and took 3 classes. So one in character design, one in character rendering and one in comics to just kind of try it out and do something with my life because I wasn't finding work. Because, fun fact, in order to get into the game industry, they seem to want 3 years of experience, and being fresh out of college like I am, I have no real world experience except for doing 2 comic issues for College Humor. I did issues for I think it was 3 and 5? I'd have to check. But I did 2 issues for the comic What the Fuck 101 Extra Credits, which was like an animated series they had, and then they did comics back when Dropout had comics and was a subscription service. So I did 2 of those, which really nice experience. I should mention, when I speak of comics, I do not mean single panel things. I mean like full page spreads or the long form content, which is what my current freelance job is, the long form content on Webtoon, but it's not my own like concept. I'm just working as one of the artists, not the artist. There's a important difference there. Holy cow, my voice is getting sore and I do not have any Kool-Aids. Yeah, I love my blueberry Kool-Aid jammers because I am child at heart. Even though I am 22, I am not a baby, I swear. Nor am I old. I don't know what age people probably expect me to be. I know in person they think I'm like 15, which no, I'm not. I am legal to drink and do many things. The marijuana in Canada. Even though I personally don't, but it is legal here. As many friends of mine enjoy. But yeah, look at me coloring. God, I was so dead inside at this point. I was like, there's so many things I need to fix, but I just cannot. I also made the smart choice. Oh, sorry, I am yawning there. I made the smart choice to just edit colors as I went along, because at this point it wasn't a big difference in like the composition, so I could just increase the size and try and clean up the coloring. God, I'm sorry. I still like the effect of like the glowing glove, even though it's a really basic thing. I just like the aesthetic of like the glowing glove approaching you, and it's slowly becoming all what you see on the screen. And now as for the tedious thing of me trying to add water droplets. I guess to try and kind of like add on to the watery effect. And also kind of disguise, like she's crying in the rain and the rain is mixed in with her tears. Very aesthetic. Feel my emotions. God made us. I'm so sorry, pretty girl. I'm gonna draw you more. You're so sweet and you're so sad. You try your best, your gay little hearts. Oh yes, they are both gay because I say so. Even though neither have been romance. Neither have romance. Oh, I forgot her freckles for most of it. That is something I consistently forget, is that she has freckles. No, this is me going back and editing and trying to figure out how to work in the text. Am I broken? Am I flawed? And I'm finally at the end of the video, so thanks for watching my pain.